please.
Namo Sakamuni Buddha. Namo Sakamuni Buddha. Namo Sakamuni Buddha.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Thang Thiền. Can you read that para, please?
Cause Yapa, you should understand that the dust come one is like this. He appears in the world like a great cloud rising up with a loud voice. He penetrates to all the heavenly and human beings and the assure of the entire world, like a great cloud spreading over the 1,000,000,000-fold lands. And in the midst of the great assembly, he addressed these words, saying, I am the thus come one, worthy of offering of right and universal knowledge, perfect clarity and conduct, well gone, understanding the word, unexcel-worthy trainer of people, teacher of heavenly and human beings, Buddha were only one. Those who have not yet crossed over, I will cause to cross over. Those not yet free, I will set free. Those not yet at rest, I will put at rest. Those not yet in nirvana, I will cause to attain nirvana. Of this existence and future existences, I understand the true circumstances. I am one who know all things, see all things, understand the way, opens up the way, preaches the way. You heavenly and human beings, asuras and other, you must all come here so that I may let you hear the Dharma. Um, what this saying is that Buddha was speaking to Kasyapa. He um, he 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 appeared in the world like a great cloud rising up, and with a loud voice, the Buddha penetrated to the heavenly being and assure of the time were like a great cloud spreading over the 1,000,000,000 fold. So in the great assembly, he speak these words. He said that I am the thus come one worthy offering of right and the universal knowledge, perfect clarity and conduct well gone, understanding the word excel worthy, trainer of people, teacher of heavenly and human beings. Buddha were only one. So I think these are the terms that describe the Buddha. Um, so so he came here to share the Dharma to those who are not yet crossed over. So he will help them to cross over, and those are not yet free, he will help them to be free. And those are not yet at rest, he will help them to put at rest. And those who are not yet in nirvana, he will cause them to attain nirvana. Because of this, he understands the true circumstances. And because of this, he know all things. He see all things. He understand the way, open up the way, preach it the way, and so he came here to set them free.
Okay. So, Thang Thiền, do you remember who Mahakashipa is? Remember? You turn on the mic, please.
Oh yeah, motherfucker. He is a foremost and majestic power. I don't know whether if he's stand on the left or the right side of the Buddha.
Tân Nguyễn, you remember who he is?
Actually, I don't remember or know his name in English, but
Ngài Ca Diếp á, biết không? William, you remember?
Yes, the Buddha entrusted him with the what's become Zen or Chan.
Yeah.
There's a story of the Buddha gave him a flower. I think it was a lotus flower when he entrusted him with keeping that line of teaching of the jhana. I think it's jhana in Indian.
Yeah. Diana, yeah. Okay. Thầy giáo Pháp, you can tell Mahakishapa. I think I discussed briefly last time, right? Turn on the mic, thầy giáo Pháp.
Mahakasipa, he was the most ascetic practitioner. That means he very diligent on that. The Sripucha, he was the right hand of the Buddha. Moggallana, he was the left hand of the Buddha. So Mahakasipa is the most ascetic practitioner, and he also the first line in the Zen tradition. That means the Zen from the India to China. So up to now we have 44 patriarch. What do you call patriarch? We call it patriarch. So he was the first patriarch of the Zen or the Zen. And he was still now in the India in the cave in meditation, wait for the next Buddha. That means the future Buddha is Maitreya Buddha.
I have a question to that.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in India, was one time I was in Dharamsala. I met two Americans, and they was Buddhist teachers. I don't remember the university anymore, but they told me that there is a stupa somewhere in the mountain area in Dharamsala where people still have they know where this where this student of the Buddha is in the meditation is. I don't know if it's true, but I remember these two American teachers told me that they on the next day they went there to pray and meditate.
Yeah, I was in Dharamsala for 9 months. I could not recall whether we have that kind of stupa or not. But we know for sure in the Mahayana and Theravada traditions, we still recall the part that has Mahakashipa entering samadhi or concentration and wait for the next Buddha in one particular mountain, but I'm not sure where is that. So of course, depend upon the tradition that they practice, they would have the belief. So this Arhat, he practiced what you call the 12 ascesis practices. William, you know that 12 ascesis practices?
No.
For example, they would wear the drag ropes, rope that or the clothes that they pick up from cemeteries. You know, in the past, people when they pass away, so they will be carried and dumped into the forest. And so the monks in Buddha times, especially the one who practice this type of ascetic practices, they would come there and pick up the clothes of the dead corpse and wash them. After that, they mend them together as the ropes. And that's one practice. Another practice is that they would not lie down to sleep for the rest of their life. Not one day, not 1 week, not 1 year, but for the rest of their life. And they sleep under the tree. So this is the hard practices that they follow. And Mahakashyapa, he is the foremost one. And that's why the Buddha share half of his seat with Mahakashyapa. And even he passed his rope and bow to Mahakashyapa. You know, in Buddhist tradition, the rope and the rope and the bow is symbolize the authorities of the Sangha. So that's why he still keep the Buddha rope and bows to wait for the next Buddha to pass to the next one. And again, it's incredible that he's still in Samadhi up to now, more than 2,500 years already. And he's still waiting for the next Buddha approximately more than 500 million years from now. So, yeah, that go beyond our thinking, our human thinking, when they could enter that kind of Samadhi. It's not easy to think, right? This should be beyond our human thinking, right? Yeah, when I was in Dharamsala, I remember that I heard there's some stupas of the Buddha disciple. But remember, Dharamsala is pretty far away from the 4 holy places, like the place where the Buddha was born, right? Lumbini, the place where the Buddha attained enlightenment, right? Bodhi Gaya. You've been at that 4 places, right, Thân Nguyên?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Dharamsala is pretty far away. This is I remember that this 1 day trip to ride on the train. 1 day. I rode I think a few times from Dharamsala to New Delhi and Bodhi Gaya. So again, that's their belief then in the Tibetan traditions.
But they told me that because that place quite from Dharamsala, they can see the Himalaya. They can see very close to the Himalaya. So yeah, from there somehow there is stupa, and this American teacher told me that every year they go there. There's a group of Buddhists. They really go there, and they do meditations, and they also because they are teacher, right? So they also asking for support, giving them the guidance from to teach the students.
Hi Tammy, how you been? Yeah, so
All
you
right.
watch them, huh? You watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, go ahead, Nguyễn. Can you read the next 2 paragraphs, please?
Yes. At that time, living beings of countless thousands, 10,000s, millions of pieces come to the place where the Buddha is to listen to the Dharma. The thirst come one then observe whether they are diligent in their efforts or lazy, and in accordance with it is capable of hearing. He preaches the law for them in an immeasurable variety of ways, so that all of them are delighted and are able to gain excellent benefits therefrom. Once these living beings have heard the law, they will enjoy peace, security in their present existence, and good circumstance in future existence. Then they will receive joy through the way and again be able to hear the law. And having heard the law, they I cannot see the next one.
William, can you move up, please?
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. They will escape from obstacles and hindrance, and with regard to the various doctrines, they will be able to exercise their power to the fullest, so that gradually they can enter into the way. It is like the rain falling from that great cloud upon all the plants and trees, thickets and groves, and medicinal herbs. It, depending upon its species and nature, receive its full share of moisturing and is enabled to sprout and grow. So in this part, the Lotus Sutra teaches us that the teaching of the Buddha and his enlightenment and his wisdom is like the clouds, and sentient beings are like different kinds of trees, herbs, or in all kind of size, and depends on the ability of us to learn, to understand the Dharma. We will get the benefits from his teaching, and the result that from listen to the Dharma and practice the Dharma is that we will be free, choiceful, and grow in Dharma. That's what I understand from this part.
Yeah, thank you. I think we discussed before the goal in Buddhism is to achieve liberation, right? It's different from Western tradition that they need the salvation, but in the Eastern tradition, especially Buddhism, whichever techniques or Dharma we practice is aimed for liberation. So my question is, can you elaborate? Here the Buddha say that depend upon every sentient beings, he would teach accordingly, so that and they would be liberated. So can you elaborate what mean by liberation? In practical sense, sorry. In the practical sense, how, like human like us, like right now, we are Buddhists. So how could we attain or recognize some kind of liberation within ourselves in our daily life then?
Yeah, for example, we have at least in my experience, I see if if I did not learn about Buddhism and learn to meditate and spending time to read the Lotus Sutra, I think in daily life we are too much involved in our because of our sixth sense. So everything we hear, we see, we are too much involved in all of these. We forget that we are actually we are the owner of ourselves and not all of these external assist. We are too much involved into it, and at a certain point, we think we are all of these things that happen to us, but actually we are not. But without learning the Dharma and meditate, like 10 years ago, all the thing happened to me. I also thinking, okay, because of this, because of that, and most of the time is always the external root cause. However, now since I meditate, I look at my own actions and my own thoughts. I see clearly that through the meditation, I can concentrate more into positive energy, positive thinking, and from that I can make better decisions daily, and that helped me improve my own life situation and also stay always in the positive side when I confront some obstacles. And more what I see is that I am more aware and observe what is happening than involve in what come to me. And I think in this way it is the liberations, because depend on the level, and also depend on how much we practice. We come back to ourselves more easier than involved in what it is outside of us. So this is what I want to share today.
Thank you. Thân thiện. So you stay here for a week to do meditation. Could you feel that kind of liberation spiritually and mentally after a week of meditation here? What do you think?
Yeah, more of I see a big change, and from what I learned, I was be able to so when my thought arises during the meditation, I was be able to counteract my thought. So I know I still have some thoughts. It take a while for it to settle down. So I see a bit change. I was be able to concentrate when I try to focus myself on reading or talk to other people. I always be able to pay attention more clearly than before. So my mind does not wander around. So I think it take me a time to be able to overcome the thing that I was going through, the suffering. Type.
Thank you. So I think we discussed before, right, William? What do you think in mundane life, like in your life, you're busy with your work, with your family's responsibilities, You think that's possible to be free of something else mentally and spiritually, or it's not easy in practical sense?
I think practically it makes life easier, because if we have no pathway to let go, if we're so attached to all the different things in our life, whether things we want or things we already have, then we end up having difficulty over it. And if we can't disengage, then there's never any peace. It's either we're getting what we want and we're experiencing pleasure, or we're not, and it's really bad. So yeah, I think it makes things easier. There's just like a little bit of an activation barrier where I can still feel it in myself a little bit, where like I feel like I really need to meditate on days that I work. On days that I don't work, there's not as much of a need. So if I'm considering it, because I don't even think about it on days that I work, but if I'm considering if I'm going to or not, there's like a little bit of initial resistance. But I know that if I do it and I get through that bit of initial turbulence, that there's just this beautiful peace that like nothing else I would do during the day would that occur, unless I was to like go out in nature and sit down and then kind of allow a sort of meditative state to enter. But I don't think it's like a burden or anything. It's a it's a gift to be able to have the teachings that allow us to disengage from these things that cause us trouble.
How about Tammy? What do you think for a week of meditation at our center? So you feel a little bit free, or what?
I feel like everything's kind of slowed down for me. As far as just like he was talking about being able to hear people better and clearer and see what's actually going on around you. So that's been helpful. And also like the emotions, they're slowed down too. So you're not reacting as much as before, where you can just sit, feel, and know what they are, and then not react to them. So that's pretty good too.
Thank you. Yeah, Thầy Giáo Pháp want to say that? How can we let go of emotional attachment or whichever? Is that easy for us? Then for the lay people, what do you think?
Oh, for the monk, I think it's more easier than the lay people, because we are not deal with the world. Because I remember that when I was still a lay person, well, it's not easy to keep up the practice, but I do it every day anyway. I practice in the morning and also in the evening. That's when I was the lay person. But honestly, sometimes it's tough. But I have to make sure that whenever that thing, I make sure I go through it, even though there's some kind of resistance, but I go through it. But for the monk, of course, they are. When I became the monk, I think I am busy, more busier than the lay person. So I well, we practice in the morning and evening, so we have enough time to enough energy to run to the day. So I focus on the teaching for the kid as well as for the other adult. So I spend a lot of time to prepare for the material, and that all my energy based on the morning practice and also based on the evening practice. So that's how my day go. So it helps. It does help. It helps a lot. So Yeah, for the lay person, it will be a little bit tough. But if you have the goal in your mind and you know what you're going to do, and you just keep going.
So we'll save time for you to do meditation in the summer then. Yeah, you can make up times during the normal semester, the spring and the fall semester will help out. We need to practice the Bodhisattva path. And we still have times to do our own practice later on.
I think I remember the summer, last summer, during the COVID time, I and my master, we teach the kids 7 days a week, basically almost 7 days a week. And I teach 3 classes every day. So it's really busy, but it's good. Actually, it's good. It keeps me focused. Okay.
Hopefully, we would not do that type of teaching this summer. Then save more time for our summer retreat. Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. Thank you. Yeah. Go ahead, William. Can you read the next paragraph, please?
Yes. Can I share one thing
yeah, go ahead, please.
It's applicable. There's a Buddhist center. I forget where it is exactly. I think it's Montana. It's got a name similar to the one Master Swanhua changed. It's I think it's Garden of 1,000 Buddhas. It's a Tibetan Buddhist place, and I'm on their email list. One of their older students a Westerner entered Thupdam. I think we talked about it on previous calls, where her consciousness remained in her body, and they could tell because of the warmth that was present. And apparently it's a very atypical thing for Western students to have. And so I just thought that was kind of cool, since we talked about it before, that state on calls. I wanted to pass that on.
So you mean that they stay in Samadhi?
Yeah. Oh, well, after she died, she stayed, like, her consciousness remained in her body. So her body didn't get cold. Her heart stopped beating, but she retained a warmth that like in Tibetan Buddhism, they use that term Thupdam. I don't know what, and that there was the article that we talked about, where the Tibetan master entered that state upon death, and they put the EEG stuff in his brain, and his activity remained. And I just thought this one was cool because it was a Westerner who wasn't born into Buddhism, but came to it a little bit later in life, but was very sincere in her practice, and attained this state at the end of her life.
Oh, she passed away? Oh, okay. But her body is still warm? Yeah,
it was a period of, I think it was 2 days, or maybe a little bit over 1 day.
Okay. Well, that's great then.
Thank you for letting me share. All right, so I'll start here. The law preached by the Thus Come One is of one form, one flavor, namely the form of emancipation, the form of separation, the form of extinction, which in the end comes down to a wisdom embracing all species. When the living beings hear the law of the Thus Come One, though they may embrace, read, and recite it, and practice it as it dictates, they themselves do not realize or understand the blessings they are gaining thereby. Why is this? Because only the Thus Come One understands the species, the form, the substance, the nature of these living beings. He knows what things they dwell on, what things they ponder, what things they practice. He knows what law they dwell on, what law they ponder, what law they practice. Through that law they attain, or through what law they attain what law. Through that, maybe they meant to say through that law they attain that law. Instead of what? you want me to read the next one, or?
I think that's enough for you. Yeah.
Okay. So here, again in the sutra, it's emphasizing that the law is singular, that there's not truly multiple vehicles, like many, I would use the analogy of like many rivers coming into the ocean. So that's at the beginning, it's saying one form, one flavor, and it leads to this state that embraces all living beings, wishing for the same thing for all living beings. So it's not like business school where the reason I'm getting good at business is because I want to get rich and I'm taking care of myself. It's actually in practicing this law, the same thing we want for ourselves, we want for all living beings. And it's saying here that, but we don't even really understand the benefits that we get from this practice completely, because we don't have, our knowledge is limited. Only the Buddha can fully understand the blessings that come from this, because of the Buddha's deep understanding of in that part makes sense to me as his deep understanding of the nature of living beings. And so that therefore he understands the blessings that come from these practices. And then knowing on what they, where our thoughts are, what's important to us, that knowledge would seem to be important in what teachings are used to bring people along. And it's interesting because it seems to be saying through that law, they attain that law. So that like from the very, like you have both said, Tikyafap and Tikang Dat, that if you do your work with the mind of the Buddha, then in a way, we've already like attained Buddhahood in a way. I'm not sure if I'm paraphrasing that correctly, but that through practicing this law, we attain this law as well. It seems pretty cool that like from, like the tree is in the seed, that if we have the right seed, then we have that whole tree in a sense of speaking. It just has to be allowed to, be planted in the right spot and grow.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. I'd like to discuss in a practical sense. So again, here the Buddha say, yeah, it's patient, that's been liberation, the form of separation. We know that's the form of extinction. So when we talk with any common man, people on the street or wherever we meet, if we would say, well, if you practice Buddhist meditation, you would be liberated. You would detach from your emotions, from things that you have. This is impossible for them to understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's reality. That's when we can be free from stress, from anxiety. That's where stress, anxiety come from. This come from the attachment of all things, whether it's money, whether it's fame. And in the last couple of days, we know what happened in the Capitol Hill, right? People are frustrated with the election, and now they got caught. I think many of them are good people, but because somehow they were influenced by politics and they got involved too much that they got stuck there and they may go to the jail. Actually, I feel sorry for them. I know. I read, I follow these stories, and I recognize many of them feel good people, but because of that kind of deep involvement or attachment to politics, that's one particular problems or issue in our daily lives. when we talk about the wealth, when we talk about the fame, whichever, we attach so much that we stress out and we get into the problems or trouble of ourselves. So it's not easy for us to explain to those common people when they have so much attachment to those things, right? So how could we help them out then? Let's say in your case, William, your patient come to you, right? They may have that type of attachment. So how could you help them out? What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying in the sense of this. It seems that someone, rather than being willing to accept that this, if there's something that we're making a necessity in order for us to be complete or be happy or to be content, like if we need something in order to be that, and that we have to arrange our environment in such a way that we can then be happy, in an extreme form of that, because it makes sense to want to be, have warmth or to have food, that it's so hard for someone to think about like non-attachment, or no longer pursuing something for a form of happiness, some material good. Almost always they're just we're so held on to like, this is what I need in order to be happy. So it seems that a little step is the way, like, okay, I just have to accept that I can't force them to understand a big thing. I need to look for, and I don't probably tikangda tikyafat. This is a bad analogy. Have either of you played Jenga?
I don't know. Sorry. What is that?
Jenga is this game of blocks where you have 3 blocks layered like this way, and then 3 blocks layered that way, and then 3 more blocks, and it goes up like 27 blocks high.
Oh.
And then your job is to push a block out and then take it and put it on the top. So some blocks are really hard. Like if you go to push the block, the whole tower is going to fall down. But some blocks, you touch them and they just slide right out without any problem. So I think it's kind of like that. It's like knowing for that person, or having a way to converse with the person and listen deeply to get a sense of what is the step that they can do now that isn't going to make their whole tower fall down, that's not going to get them to say, hey, you're crazy, I'm not listening to you. But they're going to see that there's something that helped them, and so that then they may come back in the future, and a relationship may deepen, so that they'll gradually be open to considering a broader and broader idea. But in the beginning, I think it just has to be like a small little thing that makes a lot of sense to them.
Yeah, not only attached to the material lives, but also they attach to their own thought. Yeah, like you say, yeah, only when they recognize us, they would let them go. So that's why people so stressed out so much. I'd like to share with you. William, can you let me to share? I think some of you may have watched this one. I think I like to show these video clips to our children. Have you seen this? You are not your own thoughts. Pammy, have you seen this video clip yet?
I don't think so.
All right, let's watch this. Yeah, because it's related to what happening nowadays. I somehow before I like to discuss more in the theoretical ways, but now I like to bring back ourselves in the practical way, what's happening now, so that we can relate our Buddhist teaching with the reality to how to utilize and live with the Buddha teaching. That put in practice.
You are not your thoughts. Every day we have thousands of thoughts, emotions, urges, memories, and feelings. From the time we wake up in the morning, all throughout the day, to when we lay down to sleep at night. No matter who we are, we all have thoughts swirling around in our heads. We even think and feel in our dreams. Often, we don't realize how many thoughts we are having, and we get lost in them. Sometimes we're not even aware that we're thinking. We seem to be swimming in a sea of our own thoughts. When we are surrounded by our thoughts, it's easy to get caught up in them and react automatically, sometimes in ways we don't even need to react. We might hold on to some thoughts, even when we don't want to, and it can feel like our thoughts are overwhelming. But thoughts are not facts, and they are not always true, even if they seem to be. Next time you feel caught up in your thoughts, try paying attention to them with curiosity and not judgment. It doesn't matter if they are true or false, right or wrong, just notice them. How fast or slow are they? Are they all very different from each other? Or perhaps you're having the same ones over and over again. Maybe they're even focused on one theme. Some of these thoughts may be unwanted, but instead of reacting to them, notice what happens to your body sensations and your emotions when you have these thoughts. Perhaps you will notice if they are bringing you closer to or further away from what is important to you or the goals you have for yourself. Observing your thoughts is a skill that takes practice, like playing an instrument. Sometimes it'll be easy for you to be able to notice and respond to your thoughts. Other times, you might have to work really hard to get some distance from them. You might even have to keep letting go of the same unwanted thought over and over again. But don't give up. Keep trying. Like waves in the ocean, thoughts are always passing through our minds and can affect how we feel and what we do. But they are not us, and we are not our thoughts. Learning to be aware of our thoughts can allow us to respond with more choice instead of reacting in ways we may regret. Observing our thoughts gives us some distance to see how our thoughts make us feel. We can then choose to act in ways that bring us closer to the things and the people that are important to us. Remember, you are not your thoughts. Try observing your thoughts with curiosity. Try it right now.
Okay, what do you think, Tammy, about this clip?
Yeah, that's a good clip. I like it.
Thông Nguyên, what do you think? Is that the thing that you just discussed recently, right?
Yes, I also lately I think I'm learning about quantum physics, and there are theory about particles and engulfed and energy. Somehow it's yeah, it's I relate to Buddhism philosophy and meditations. Whenever I have thoughts too much or something that I think, oh, it will cause a lot of issues in my mind, then I just think, okay, I am just also the collection of all particles. So with me there or without me, thing will just solve by itself, and it calm my mind down. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I really like that video today.
How about you, William? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that when I talk to folks, I tend to try to create too big of a picture. Like I wouldn't, like that's really nice because it gives a thing that's digestible and understandable. Like if I was sharing that same thing, then I would go and start talking about like awareness and the nature of awareness. And I think I tend to want to try and unfold too much for people. And it may not, then the like one thing that could really stick may not really stick. So I think that was well presented, especially with the graphics and everything, because then a kid could really get it visually too. So I like that.
Yes, thank you. Thân Thiện, in that week, a week of meditation here, could you recognize that you are not your own thoughts, or not easy to recognize those 4 thoughts? What do you think?
Yeah, I did do that. I know the thoughts are not mine. It's just popping up on mine. So what I did, and I just let the thought come and go, and don't attach to the thought. If you attach to the thought will stay with you for a very long time. I think it's better if you just let it come and go. That's the way I do type.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so that's why the Buddha said that we are not only attached to wealth, fame, food, and so forth. We are attached to our own thoughts. And now I think they make this kind of video clips just illustrate the Buddha points that we need to let them go, otherwise we will get stuck. That's what happened in politics and what happened in economies, whichever. Thầy giáo Pháp, what do you think?
Yeah, for the 1 week meditation, I see the thought come and go very clear. When compared to at the temple, that means if we don't have a 1 week retreat, it will be a little bit tough to see our own thought. But with that week, I do see come and go very clear. And I in that state, let me I see clear. And of course, we already know that thought is not us, and we are not the thought. Based on the 4 foundation of mindfulness.
John, you understand that, John? You understand that you are not your own thoughts?
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, okay. Okay, William, can you come back to our file, please? Okay, yeah. Tammy, would you like to read the next paragraph, please?
No, I want pee-pee. I want pee-pee.
Then go to the potty. You and the others, Kalsa, have done a very rare thing, for you can understand how the thus come one preaches the law in accordance with what is appropriate. Oh, don't need to go. Living beings exist in a variety of environments, but only the thus come one sees the true circumstances and fully understands them without hindrance. It is like those plants and trees, thickets and groves, and medicinal herbs that do not themselves know whether they are superior, middling, or inferior in nature. But the thus come one knows that this is the law of one form, one flavor, namely the form of emancipation, the form of separation, the form of extinction, the form of ultimate nirvana, of constant tranquility and emptiness, The Buddha understands all this, but because he can see the desires that are in the minds of living beings, he guides and protects them, and for this reason does not immediately preach to them the wisdom that embraces all species. You and the others, Kauspa, have done a very rare thing, for you can understand how the thus come one preaches the law in accordance with what is appropriate. You can have faith in it. You can accept it. Why do I say this? Because the fact that the Buddhas, the world honored ones, preach the law in accordance with what is appropriate is hard to comprehend, hard to understand. So it's explaining that Buddha understands where everybody is on different levels, and so he's able to teach accordingly.
Yeah, thank you. So that's very important, right? As a teacher, if we understand the level of the students, it's easy for us to teach them. If we don't understand their levels or their needs or condition, it's not easy to teach. As a doctor, right, William, if you don't recognize the levels, the intensity of the pain that your patient has, right, it's not easy to provide the appropriate treatment, right? Yeah, turn on the mic, please. You have not turned on the mic.
There we go. When I'm sharing my screen, it moves.
Oh, really?
I was having trouble finding it. Yeah, I like to, if I'm gonna treat somebody, I need to have a diagnosis, an idea of what's going on. So if I don't get a good understanding of what's going on, then I can't really address it.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Tammy, when you teach your children, right, depend upon their levels, right? So now they could sit with you 10 seconds or 5 seconds?
15 seconds.
Oh, 15 seconds. That's,
yeah.
With that kind of young, they could sit still with that periods of time. It's pretty good. How about you, Thông Nguyễn? You have the experience to share with your friends and whoever, right? Depend upon their levels, right?
Yes.
How can you share?
Yeah, for example, when I training engineers, up to their interest topic, I can give them some assignment that they like. Also, to my friends, if they are from different religions, Hindu, wherever, Christian, and they asked me to share about meditation experience, I used to pick the example that that's close to their knowledge and situations, so that yeah, they get interested in meditations.
Okay, your part. We have more experience with the children, right?
Yeah. I think I do more experience with the kids, and I know their level, what they need. Especially up to nowadays, kids, they play game too much, and we have to give them something that they can stick with us for a long time, right? It's not easy. It's not easy. So depend on what the material we provide to them. That's how we can help them to learn along with us.
Okay, yeah. Since time is up, anyone has any input, suggestion before we end? Thăng Thiên, you have any question, anything?
No, thầy.
Okay, so let's just end today. Go ahead, Thăng Thiên. Yeah.
Namo Sakyamuni Buddha, Namo Sakyamuni Buddha, Namo Sakyamuni Buddha.
Thank you.